Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Education USA Thursday live session. I am Ramya Ashok.
I am Anita Bose Natarajan. We are both Education USA advisors at Yashna Trust, the Education USA Center in Bangalore. This session is brought to you by Yashna Trust, Education USA Bangalore, in collaboration with the US Consulate General, Chennai. We thank our students and parents for joining us at our center and online on Facebook and YouTube. Please keep posting your queries on the comment box in Facebook or WhatsApp, or WhatsApp us on the number displayed below.
Now, a little bit about Education USA and Yashna Trust and the work that we do with students. So Education USA is a program that is funded by the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs of the US Department of State. And this is a global network of 400 plus centers in 170 countries. In India, Education USA centers are managed by the US India Educational Foundation in New Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai, Hyderabad, and Chennai. Two other independent Education USA centers are there in Bangalore and Ahmedabad, and they are run by Yashna Trust and IAES respectively.
Our topic today is US University Education, Diversity of Choices. We'll start with programs, move on to type of institution, followed by curriculum, skill building and training, and round off with living arrangements.
Now, starting off with the level of education, there are different levels of education that students can pursue for their higher studies in the US. First, there is Summer Academy, which goes on for 6 weeks, primarily targeted towards students who are in their high schools, professional programs, as well as associate degree programs, which would span maybe 1 to 2 years. And then there is the undergraduate degree program, which is given out for 4 years generally. And then you also have the summer program for 4 to 8 weeks. And there are medical schools as well as law schools.
The graduate degree programs are usually typically offered in terms of MS, MA, MBA, and a little bit more. These programs run 1 to 2 years. The PhD programs run 5 to 7 years. There are also online programs available, and these are full degrees that range from associate's degree, bachelor's, master's, and PhD. For shorter term programs, there are certificate programs, and we'll also talk about academic programs versus professional programs.
Now, let's look at the type of institutions that are there. Starting off with the community colleges, we'll move on to professional institutes, and then to liberal arts and sciences colleges, and then to public and private universities, as well as research institutions.
Do keep in mind that location and cost of living dictate the fee one pays to a university. And this fee is university specific. You would have two universities side by side, but the fee structure could be different. Universities also offer diversity in terms of location, being set in a rural, semi-urban, or urban setting. One big takeaway that we would like for you to have is to understand whether it is accredited or not. Please check out the US Department of Education website, that's ed.gov, to find out if the US institution you're interested in is accredited or not.
Now, looking closely at the community colleges are higher education institutions that primarily offer 2-year associate's degree, as well as certificates and diplomas. Most of them would have articulation agreements with the 4-year undergraduate institutions to enable the associate's degree credits transfer for students who wish to complete their 4-year undergraduate education at a higher at a higher university. So some of the examples of community colleges are De Anza College in California, Pima Community College in Arizona, etc. Please note that Education USA represents all the 4,700 accredited US higher education institutions, and we don't, recommend, or we don't suggest these universities for you to look up specifically. So we highly recommend that students only look at universities that are a great fit for them, based on their priorities, their needs, definitely. So that's that. And moving on.
All right. The US also offers professional institutes, and these are higher education institutions that offer courses that are specifically focused on an area of interest and provide anything from an associate's degree to a bachelor's or master's degree. Examples would be the Culinary Institute of America, the New York Film Academy, Savannah College of Art and Design.
Then looking into the liberal arts and sciences colleges, these are they generally offer 4-year undergraduate degree at a bachelor's level, and they have courses mostly in humanities, arts, pure sciences, and social sciences, with a focus on broad skills in critical thinking and writing. Normally, they are known as colleges, and they tend to be relatively small, and they place high value on the close relationship that is established between the students and the professors. Some of the examples of these liberal arts and sciences colleges are Dickinson College, Amherst College, Williams College, etc. There are many, many colleges for all the students to look for according to their priorities and goals.
Liberal arts and sciences colleges also offer a 3+2 dual degree program. These colleges do not have a formal engineering or computer science program, but you would study 3 years at the college and continue another 2 years at an ABET accredited department. Note that ABET accreditation is meant for engineering schools. So for example, you would study 3 years at Kalamazoo College and continue for another 2 years at the University of Michigan. Most colleges, you would graduate with a Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science, and a lot of them are starting to offer a graduate level curriculum as well. So please do your research.
Yes. Now we'll move on to understanding the different types of universities in the perspective of public and private universities. Anita?
Okay. So public universities are governed and funded by individual states as well as the federal government. The fee structure typically comes in 3 types: in-state, out-of-state, and international. So if you were living within a particular US state, you would be paying in-state tuition. If you are a US citizen living out of that particular state, or if you're living in another country, for example, if you're living in India, but you are a US citizen, you would be applying as an out-of-state student. If you do not have US permanent residency or US citizenship, you would be classified as an international student and you would be paying fees that of an international student. If the particular university does not have a fee structure for an international student, you would be paying out-of-state tuition. The size at a public university is usually large, anything from 5,000 to 100,000 students on campus, and that does not include support staff as well as faculty. Public institutions tend to have a lot of government funding as well as government research facilities, which are top of the line. Student-faculty ratio is a little bit larger, 18 students to 1 faculty member, and public universities tend to have a more structured curriculum.
And, looking closely at the private universities, as the name suggests, these private universities are run privately and they're also funded privately. And they don't have the different types of fee that you would find in the public universities. They have one type for all the students, whether you are in-state, out-of-state, or international student. And generally, the size of these private universities are from small to mid-ranged, around 500 students to maybe around 8,000 students approximately you can expect. And since they are generally privately funded, you will also have a lot of research opportunities available right from your undergraduate level. Then, coming to the student-faculty ratio, you would find a very, very manageable student-faculty ratio that would be approximately to a max of 10 to 1. And then as for the curriculum, they are much more flexible than the than the public universities. And, the students who are interested in furthering their research interests can look at, or rather we highly recommend them to look at the Carnegie classification of institutions of higher education, where there you will find a lot of institutions that invest a lot in research, which is really high tech and very, very, happening. So definitely do look at that classification for more information.
All right, we'd like to highlight special focus institutes. These are institutions that are set up mostly at the graduate level. Some of these institutions do have undergraduate classes, so you will have a bachelor's kids coming and taking classes, but they're not spending all of their time at these institutes. They're meant mostly for the graduate level, master's, PhD students. So the degree offerings will be master's level and upwards. Examples would be the Scripps Institute, Cornell Tech, and Smithsonian Mason School of Conservation. Okay, so let's move to the graduate curriculum. And this is a summary. There's a lot more, but this is the main gist of what we would like for you to understand in terms of diversity. For the graduate school, the student would have to apply to a particular school, meaning either the School of Business, School of Engineering, the Humanities School, specifically to a school. And one can apply at a master's level degree that is totally different from the undergraduate degree. So for example, a student with a BTech bachelor's can apply for an MBA. A computer engineering student can apply for industrial engineering. But we'd like for you to keep in mind that if the bachelor's degree is significantly different from a master's degree, students may be required or will be required to take prerequisite courses, and the individual department will decide if prerequisite classes are required or not. At the graduate level, you can change your major or concentration usually up until the end of the first semester of graduate school without majorly impacting your graduation date. You can change it totally, but it will impact your graduation date. There are lots of electives available within the particular graduate school, as well as the ability to take one or two electives at another school within that particular university. So for example, an engineering student at the master's program is eligible to take an elective in the business school within the same university. Flexibility also comes into play as students are allowed to tailor their coursework to the skills they desire. So for example, a student majoring in computer science at the master's level has the option of specializing in networking or cybersecurity or artificial intelligence.
Right. Looking closely at the undergraduate curriculum, the undergraduate students, have a lot more flexibility in terms of going undecided or decided. So what does this mean? So first, let's look at, the decided aspect of it. If a student already knows what, they are looking to study or what is the subject that the student is interested in, they can directly apply to that particular department or that particular major. If a student wants to take their time and understand what are the possibilities of, what are the other possibilities and explore a lot of other subjects, they can go undecided as well. So they can apply to a particular major as an undecided, applicant, or totally they can be undecided and apply to that particular university itself. So that's the flexibility they have there. And up to the first 2 years, the students would be generally doing general education before declaring their majors. And also, for example, students applying to computer science, engineering, and other impacted majors, these are very, very specific to individual universities, are recommended to apply directly to that major, simply because these are impacted majors. So these impacted majors will be very specific to the universities, and you have to really look into different subjects, and you have to understand how a particular university or a department has formulated these. And as for the flexibility to have the number of majors and number of minors, they definitely have a lot of flexibility there as well. For example, a computer science major can have a statistics minor. Astronomy major definitely can have a very varied minor with photography or philosophy. Those kind of subjects can be minors. Business major, for example, can take classes in history, theater, or journalism. There are a lot of flexibility in terms of choosing the subjects as well. Sometimes you can even do a double major, so there is sky is the limit. So it also is very, very specific to the universities, individual universities. So definitely they have to work with the student advisor and also look at the things that are offered at a university and choose. And students also have flexibility until the second week into the semester to add or drop classes. And as for testing, not everybody would test well. So if that is you, definitely you have the flexibility to take the tests in alternate forms, such as maybe you're good in presenting projects. So project presentation is an option, or even oral exams or certain paper submissions and online testing. These are all the flexibility in terms of testing that is available. And as for grading, grading is generally based on performance throughout the semester. So it is not just via your test or your exams. Your homeworks will also be taken into consideration. Your project submissions will be taken into consideration. Other tests and exams, all of it will be put together, and you will be graded based on that. Even timeliness and so many factors go into grading as well. Innovativeness, etc. So also in some cases they might consider the best results out of the 2 or 3 results that the student has scored. So there is a lot of flexibility there as well. So, a lot more to explore.
One of the highlights of a US higher education is the ability to obtain skill building and training opportunities on campus. So we'll start off with internship opportunities. Internship opportunities would either be voluntary or paid, and they are available on and off campus. Next, there are co-op programs, and co-op programs are specific to universities as well as departments within the universities. So with co-op programs, you get authorization to work, and that's part of the curriculum. You get course credits, you get a salary, experience, and it's offered at the STEM and non-STEM level. Note that co-op programs do not guarantee you a placement with a company. You would be required to interview, and the company would decide whether they'll take you on as a co-op student or not. Co-op programs are available at the undergraduate as well as the graduate level, and it is institution specific, so do look out for this offering when you're researching US universities. There are also a lot of collaborations with departments and industry for research, and this is made available from the freshman first semester, so it's meant both for undergrads as well as graduates. You will have options to work as a teaching assistant, TA, or research assistant, RA, and some of these positions may make students eligible for in-state tuition. This eligibility for in-state is usually for graduate level students, not for undergrads. For the teaching assistantship, if you are doing your bachelor's degree, usually around your 3rd or 4th year is when you would be allowed to do a teaching assistantship. For the master's level, usually from your 1st semester, if the department allows it. For research assistantship, you could feasibly start in undergraduate from your 1st semester, and the same thing if you're planning a master's degree. The important thing is to understand the program format. And we would also recommend that you touch base with the Career Services Department on campus, and they are in charge of helping you with recruitments and placements. You can always start working with them from your first day on campus, and we do recommend that. For any questions regarding the program curriculum, please email the specific institutions. We would like to mention that there are lots of opportunities available for skill building and training if a student is willing to put in hard work and think outside the box. Opportunities to work with faculty, staff, and graduate students are available. Please put yourself out there and ask to work with either faculty, staff, or grad students.
Now, lastly, we have come to the living arrangements on and off campus. So let's start by looking at the on-campus, possibilities. Mostly for undergrad students during their first year, they are, expected, or some of the universities would want them to be on campus compulsorily. And sometimes, it can be extendable to the next year or so. This is again very, very university specific. The students have to look at what is specified for the universities that they have in their list and go by that. And there are also living and learning communities that are there in many of the universities now. Initially, these living and learning communities were offered only to, honors students, but now some universities have expanded it to students in a particular major who are housed together with a faculty member who is overall in charge of the students. And then students are also encouraged to explore further in their particular major outside of academics. This is a great thing for them. There are also additional facilities and activities that are provided in the dorm. For example, the students who are a part of the living and learning communities may have access to a 3D printer that can be used for free. They would have guest speakers coming and delivering lectures on different topics that would be very, relevant for them, or maybe they're working on those topics, so that is available for them. And also independent study led by the resident faculty. They could be a part of those kind of independent studies as well. Then there is the regular dorm housing, which we all know about. And then there's the apartment type housing on campus. And then there is the off-campus housing. So definitely for these off-campus housings are for both the undergraduate and the graduate students. But for the undergrads, it is generally for the, generally offered after the first year, and for the grad students who are without family. All right. Now,
at this point, we would like to open up for questions, and we'll provide answers. Please type in your questions in the comment box below, or WhatsApp us on the number that is being displayed on the screen. Yeah. We'll start off with a few questions that we received from students while they're registering. We appreciate, the initiative to send us questions even before we get started.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first question is, Ramya, I will give it to you. How do I shortlist universities which are great for entrepreneurship?
Okay, so generally, you have to identify the universities that are, that have entrepreneurship entrepreneurship opportunities via their academics, or they would have formulated certain skill building, opportunities in terms of their internships or co-op programs, etc. So that has to be figured out initially. Then the students, should figure out what these universities exactly offer, and how that exact offer is a match for them to, in terms of looking at their long-term goals of, getting into the workforce, right? How this university is going to help me by, if I join this particular program, whatever this program has, formulated in its course curriculum, how that course curriculum is going to help me to further my, long-term goals in terms of getting into the workforce. So that is something that you need to also look at. The other thing is, you can contact the universities if you don't find any kind of a, answer readily available in any of their websites, and they would be very, very, very glad to help you out with the relevant answers to the questions that you are looking for. And by all means, EducationUSA is there, so you can figure out any center that is closer to you, and reach out to the advisors for more advice and guidance. Yeah. So we have another question. Anita, I think you can answer this. What are the emerging areas in science and technology at US universities? What, some of the trends?
Yes. So the major trend we are seeing specifically is in computer science and engineering, specifically computer science and computer engineering. And it is artificial intelligence and machine learning. So that's what we are seeing at most US universities. But again, we feel students should pursue a major and electives in an area that they feel comfortable doing and they are happy to pursue. Okay, next question. Ramya, do ranking and location really matter?
Yes, I will take that. I didn't say yes to that question, but then I will answer this question. So generally at EducationUSA, we feel that the best fit of a university is the one that fits the student's priorities and goals. So firstly, the student has to come up with their priority of what exactly are they looking for. It could be the subject matter, it could be the requirement for hands-on training, it could be the requirement for financial aid, or it could be the skill building that they definitely are looking for, or the location for so many other reasons, the location for climatic conditions, location for industry availability around the university, or the location because of family proximity, right? So if all of these are met, all of the requirements that are laid out that are there for the student as a priority is met by the university, by all means that university could be a great fit for you, and that can go into the list that you are preparing. So ultimately, definitely look at universities and prepare a list that consists of universities that meet all your priorities and your long-term, short-term goals, and that would be the answer for this question, right? Yes, Anita, we have another question here. So the student is asking, what are the criteria for international students admission?
Okay. As an international student, for both the undergrads and the graduate students, you would have to take the TOEFL or the IELTS. There are some exceptions, and if you look at the admission requirements for specific departments, they will tell you whether you're exempted or not. But in general, it would be the TOEFL but TOEFL or IELTS. If you are planning to get a bachelor's degree, you will have to submit transcripts, high school transcripts, so 9, 10, 11th, and 12th grade transcripts. If you're planning to pursue a master's degree, you would have to send transcripts for all 4 years of your bachelor's degree. Now, for undergraduates, you would also do either your SAT or your ACT, and there are a number of schools that are test optional. So they will say we do not require SAT or ACT, but they will look at your transcripts. Some schools recommend that if you do your SAT or ACT as an international student, you would qualify for some scholarships. So please read the fine print. For graduate school, you would do the GRE if you're applying to the sciences or humanities. You would do GMAT if you're applying to business school. If you're applying to law school, you have the LSAT or other professional and licensure tests that you would have, examinations that you would have to take. Again, those specifics are placed at the department website, and you would follow up with them. Please make sure you are doing the exact examination they require you to do, and also the time frame that the exam results are valid. For example, I think TOEFL is valid for 2 or 3 years, and your TOEFL score has to be valid at the time you are going to be on campus. So if you plan to be on campus fall of 2021, your TOEFL score should still be valid when you show up on campus. This is crucial.
Yeah.
Okay?
So
there was one question for SAT preparation. How do I prepare for the SAT, and what is the timeline?
So generally, many of the students take do SAT preparation on their own, and we also highly recommend that go to College Board. The College Board website is collegeboard.org, and in their website you have their own academy, which I think they have a tie-up with Khan Academy, and there you will find out a lot of explained answers and solved problems and answers for many of the questions, and they will also have tutorials there. So that's a great place to start with, and many students have been doing that traditionally. So that's the recommended way of preparing for SAT. Yes, look at collegeboard.org.
Okay, we have a question that just came in, and they're asking, does being an in-state applicant affect your chances of being accepted in comparison? Does an out-of-state applicant affect your chances of being accepted in comparison to an in-state applicant? You want to do half an hour, do half an hour?
Yeah, so it really doesn't affect your thing, because every university will have certain number of seats which would be allotted to international students, certain number of seats which would be allotted to their domestic students. So that's the number that they will look up to, and we won't know what it is. So that is one way to address it. So Anita, you want to add anything to it?
Yeah, what I'd like to add is, instead of looking at statistics as to how many in-state and out-of-state they're taking, focus and make your application a good one. This question is more for the undergrad students, but I'm telling it for undergrad as well as grad, because an application that is well done, well presented, usually more weightage is given to that applicant than to in-state or out-of-state residency, because a university obviously would have a better quality student than not. So they're actually looking at your application. So please focus on doing your best possible job for your application. And of course, turn it in a timely fashion, not at the very last second.
Yeah, the last minute will always lead to haphazardness, and then you will not be able to do a good job in your application. So that's that.
We'd also like to mention that this presentation will be shared. And also feel free to share it on Facebook amongst your friends, and we'll be sending out on our social media channels as well. I see we're getting questions.
Yeah, we're getting questions. So that's good.
I'll cover a question that one of our audience members had. And he is studying for his MS in computer science and interested in pursuing a PhD in the US. So his question was how to go about doing that. He's already been in contact with faculty in the US, and that's exactly how you do it.
Proceed.
You would do research on individual departments and faculty, and you would find a match, a fit between what you are studying, what you want to do, and what an existing faculty member is researching on. And you would reach out to that faculty member and see if there was a fit that faculty member was interested in what you're doing, and proceed from there. Sometimes you get fast response, sometimes you get no response, sometimes you get lots of responses. So we would say just keep on researching and meeting with faculty. One of the advantages of coming to an EdUSA office is a lot of times we do have faculty visiting. So especially for our center over here, it's listed on our website. So please take advantage if you happen to be in the area and we have a faculty member coming and you're interested in meeting that faculty member, please take advantage of the fact that you're allowed to meet the faculty member.
Yeah, so we have a question here. I'll just read it out. I am currently doing bachelor's degree in computer science from a university that is giving an online education. So how effective is this? That's the question. So the first thing that you need to look at is if the university is an accredited university. So the accreditation you can find in the Department of Education website. That's number one. And if you're paying for that course and taking a certificate course, then it would be definitely very, very important for you to see the accreditation of that particular university. And anything else you need to add?
Yeah, a good way of, the question is how effective is this? So a good way of finding out if it's effective or not is to ask that actual university, is students who have graduated in this particular online program, where have they moved on after this? And if it is to a company or to a graduate school that you are interested in, that's usually a good sign that this program might work for you.
True, that's true. So these are the two things that you need to look at.
No, we're done with questions? At the moment. Okay, we're done.
I think. Okay.
Do we want?
Do we have the time? I think
it's 3:25.
It's 3:35. So yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so we'll take
a
couple more questions that that have just come in.
Through our WhatsApp.
Through our WhatsApp. So, is the SAT or the ACT absolutely required? The answer to it is
no. There are universities that are test optional. But again, as I mentioned earlier, there are some scholarships out there where if you do take your SAT or ACT, you might qualify for some scholarship money, and the universities will usually have that listed on their website. So do your due diligence and then make the decision for yourself. But no, it's not absolutely required.
No. So,
can I change my major more than once, Ramya?
Yes, you can. You can change your major more than once. This is for the undergrads. I'm talking in the perspective of the undergrad education. So, but you know what? You can change, but then you have to definitely keep your academic advisor at the university in the loop, and they would be able to guide you towards what is the process. So do that. You can, but you have to always be in consultation with your academic advisor. So we have another question. Can the graduate students live in the dorms? Anita.
Okay, so for graduate students who are coming in with the spouse and or kids, there is usually some amount of graduate housing available on campus. But graduate students who are coming by themselves, they are usually encouraged to live off campus. The reason why they try and accommodate family on campus is because the spouses will have a support network and the children also will have a support network. So if you are coming with your spouse and or children, definitely look for graduate housing on campus. But if you're not moving with them, it might be a cheaper alternative for you to live off campus. So again, it depends per student.
In that way, they're very inclusive, isn't it,
yes.
Anita? They just look at all the things that are very
to help you
important.
Yes, to help you adjust really well and your family as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I think one last question at this point is converting my GPA or my percentage to a 4.0 scale compulsory, Ramya? This is for grad kids.
No, it is not compulsory for all the universities. What you can do is, it is definitely very, very university specific. And if your university requires you to convert your GPA into a translatable form that they can read, they would direct you to the agencies that do the conversion. So definitely it is very university specific. So if the university wants, you have to do it, follow their instructions.
Yes, and please use the agencies that they recommend, because some universities prefer certain agencies over the other. You do not want to find out at the very last minute that your conversion is invalid.
And give yourself enough time to, even do that. So that's why we always insist on starting early. So the early you start, your application will go very smoothly without any kind of a last minute surprises and, anything else that could come up in the last minute. So start early.
Do we have any questions from the audience here? No? Okay, thank you.
So we don't have any other questions through WhatsApp. And
yes.
Great. So, all right. We are there everywhere. So social media, on all of the social media platforms, we are there. We are follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. So in YouTube, we have put up a variety of informational videos where, which will be useful for both undergraduate, graduate, and also students who are looking to pursue research as well. So these are all, some of these are advisor-led, sessions. Some of these are university representative-led sessions as well. And here we have two URLs which you need to really, look at, visit, etc. our global URL, which is the educationusa.state.gov. So this is a place where you can find all of the different Education USA centers across the world, and also the 7 centers in India. You can find our work timing, contact information, and also this website. You can find the scholarship information or financial aid information given out by various universities. This is a great resource for students who are looking for anything related to studying in the US, and this is the official website. Second is our local website, which is the Yashna Trust Education USA Bangalore website, which is called the yashnatrust.org. In this website, you will find specifically in the events section, we would have listed all the university visits that are there in our center. And these university visits would be meets and greets from different universities. They want to meet students and parents, or it could be information sessions led by these universities or workshops done by them. So these are all very useful sessions that you can attend. These are all for free. So please follow us and look up all these events and come over. Be sure to make an appointment and come over to our center to attend these sessions. And Education USA generally does a bi-weekly webinar on Saturdays at 10 a.m. sharp. And the link for which is shown here, as well as you can find these links in Facebook as well. And also every other social media platform that we are present. These webinars are an easy way to look at, different sessions and understand various, processes that are involved in US admissions process. And also, these mostly are given out by US university representatives, and some of them are even advisor-led. So the next is Anita.
Okay, so every Saturday at our Frasertown branch in Bangalore, we have a free open house session for parents and students. It starts on Saturdays, every Saturday at 11:30 a.m. sharp. So we will talk about the basics of the US higher education system. You have our address down there. Please give us a call if you would like to attend the session, and we do start on time. I would also like to mention that EdUSA has come up with an incredible mobile application to enable instant online access to credible, unbiased, and comprehensive information on the go. Please download this mobile app using your Android or iOS phones. Do we have any last minute things?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
So thank you so much for joining us today for this Education USA live session. We look forward to meeting you next week. Thank you. I am Anita Bose Natarajan.
And I am Ramya Ashok, signing off until next week. Thank you so much.